Meanwhile, these quotes from Jozy Altidore talking about his future surprised me today. The US international saying, when I go back to Europe, I want to go to a place like the Netherlands. I was in contact with Feyenoord last summer when Jaap Stam was a trainer there, but it didn't become concrete. I'd love to play at a club like Feyenoord, AZ or PSV again. That would be great. I suppose, Ali, the reason that these surprise me is that I would just think, oh, you know, Jozy will be fine in Toronto, take the money until he retires.
Yes, and I think that's still the case. I think this is a little bit of posturing. And the reason I say that, if you go back to a report that came out in January, a report that, by the way, was put out there by our very own, very trusted source, Herculez Gomez, in terms of saying that the public criticism of Jozy Altidore regarding Michael Bradley's injury and the way that Toronto FC dealt with that injury would in some ways create a pathway in which Toronto FC would look for Jozy Altidore to go elsewhere. Well, I think this is a way of Jozy Altidore saying, you're looking for a way out for me? No, I'm looking for a way out myself. And you don't tell me what to do. I do what I do. It's posturing, I think, on both sides, because when you look at the numbers and what has been reported in terms of salary and guaranteed compensation for Jozy Altidore, there's nobody out there in MLS or in the world that is willing to pay that amount of money. We're talking about guaranteed compensation over $6 million a year. Who out there is lining up to do that? I don't think that's happening in the Eredivisie, and I don't think that's happening in Major League Soccer. And so it would be very difficult for Toronto FC to move Jozy Altidore anyways. And I do think that if Jozy Altidore wants to go elsewhere, then, well, he may have to take a pay cut. Does he want to do that? I don't know that that's the case either. So I think Jozy Altidore is trying to take control of the situation and send a message to Toronto FC saying, if you want to move me, I don't care. I want to move myself, actually.
What do you think?
I think Alejandro is onto something. I think when he says it's posturing by both sides, I think that may be the case. Toronto did want to move him, and Toronto was entertaining offers. And I will tell you this, I've received phone calls from Liga MX ownership groups, sporting directors, asking about Jozy Altidore, and it comes down to money, just like Alejandro says. Well north of $6 million guaranteed compensation for Jozy Altidore. That's a hefty bill for any club around the world right now. Now, there is a reason Jozy Altidore would have a market or would want to go back to Holland. That's where he had some of his most productive years in his career. He's a very good player. For a big man, he's got very soft feet. But that relationship with Toronto, whether Toronto wants to admit or not, is deteriorating. He publicly criticized Sebastian Giovinco's exit. Alejandro Moreno already touched upon his MLS Cup injury for Michael Bradley and the way the club handled that injury moving forward. He criticized them there. I think if the right suitor comes along for both parties, this is something both parties would honestly consider. Now, his age, he's 30 years old. His compensation, I agree. If he wants to go elsewhere, it has to be the right situation. He would have to come down from that north of $6 million mark. But I do see something there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And many have already led me believe that something could be in the works.
Make sure your daughter's all right, Herc, because I go to Ali and ask, forget money, could Jozy do something in the Dutch league?
I think he could. I think he could score a few goals here and there, and I think he could be an important piece for a team, depending on what team that is. He has been successful there. Now, mind you, this was a while back, but I still think that there is something about Jozy Altidore that feels very comfortable in going back to Holland and continue to make a mark there. I don't think he's going to have the sort of productivity that he had at his most successful years there, but he may be productive for a group or maybe an important part for a team, but I don't think that team would be willing to pay the sort of money that he's now making at Toronto FC. And so if there's a deal to be struck, then there have to be a happy medium. And most of all, you have to say, whether Jozy likes to hear this or not, he himself has struggled with injuries over the last couple of seasons. And that's something that whatever team is after him, whether it's in the Eredivisie or somewhere else, or with Herculez' friends in Liga MX, mind you, let's not forget, Herculez is getting phone calls from sporting directors and technical directors and coaches and everybody. It's asking about every player in the world. This is how important Herculez is. But what I would suggest is Herculez or Jozy or whoever, if you're not healthy, you can't play. And so if you're going to make an investment, it's got to be a guy that's available to you out on the field.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.